Hey everyone, I want to talk about a deep topic today. I know the topics of all my videos so far have been a little deep, but today I want to talk about a very abstract thing that I've encountered throughout my life, and I would just like to see who else has encountered this concept. This word that I want to introduce you to today is a German word that we don't actually have in the English language, and it's called Sehnsucht. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but it's Sehnsucht, and it means just a longing for kind of like I guess I can use the word utopia, or just this perfect experience, or this where everything's right in the world. It's really kind of it's just such a very abstract word that I think a lot of people experience it, but they don't really know how to describe it, or they don't even have a word for it, because the English language, we don't have anything that really describes what it is. It's just this longing of something that almost hasn't ever occurred in our experience. If that makes sense. It's kind of, the way I describe it, it's kind of like, it's almost like the veil comes down for a moment. It's almost like another dimension has kind of entered. I know that sounds really strange, but it's just kind of the merging of two different realities for a brief moment. It has a very familiar feel to it, but it also has kind of this, it's like this expansion, just this almost infinity in a way. It's like infinity meets this familiarity. Can't talk. That familiarity. They're existing simultaneously, if that makes sense. And it's just a weird phenomenon where you're just you could be going throughout your day, and it's just kind of a brief moment where it's like you're filled with this longing, kind of. It's just a weird, almost like a deja vu type of feeling. I know I've heard other people describe it as deja vu, but it's not deja vu. It's kind of like just this familiarity all of a sudden. And for me, it seems to come about when I see certain landscapes, just, I think, beauty in nature, maybe like sunsets. When I was a child, I remember seeing thunderstorms off in the distance, like before, how the sky gets really dark before it starts pouring or it starts thundering and lightning. But I would see this dark sky behind a grove of trees that was nearby across the street from our house. And it was just, I don't know, it just inspired this sense of wonder. And I know it just sounds, the more I try to explain it, I think probably the more confusing I sound, but it really is just a very odd, but very real phenomenon that happens. And I've heard so many people try to describe this, but it's kind of like, you can't recreate it. It's just like this moment in time. It's very fleeting, where you're just met with this sense of wonder. Almost, the wonder is so intense that it's almost like something outside of this dimension. I know it's weird, but maybe there are other people out there that have had that as well. I remember another memory growing up of riding bicycles with my sister. We had a driveway that it wasn't super steep, but it was steep enough to where you could get like a lot of momentum going down. And we would ride bikes around that, kind of like 5-6 o'clock in the evening, right before dinner. And I just remember it being just so filled with wonder, because, I would go down the driveway on my bicycle with my legs, just hanging out. And it was just that perfect time of day where, photographers call it golden hour. And, it's almost magical. It's like just this transcendent quality to it. And so you're left with really, longing really doesn't describe what the word is, but it's just something that's been just a part of my life. It doesn't come super often, but those moments that it does, it just really makes you long for almost something beyond this physical world. And, I think that it's the Holy Spirit. stirring us to seek God, because it's almost like we seek union. We want to be united with something. We feel like we're, like some of the great writers said, it feels like we're separated, we're detached, we're disconnected from something that would be, just perfect union. And I believe that perfect union is with God. But, it's like it says in the book of 𝐸𝐾𝐭 that he put eternity in man's heart. So it's almost like a puzzle where we're just trying to put the different pieces together, and we can't see the finished product, but we're seeing glimpses of it here and there. We don't see what the huge picture shows in the end, what the final product is. And I think that's what it is. We don't see his final plan, what it all looks like, but we see, this little piece here, that little piece there. It's where we're shown these different pieces at various times. And it just stirs us to search and to seek him out. It's a very real, for me, it's been a very real experience. And I think as a writer, I think it inspires that creativity, because it's almost like you're on the cusp of something. It's kind of what, another way that I could describe it. You just feel like you're on the edge of something innovative and new, and it's, in a way, I think that that's what eternity is. When we leave here, it's that in perpetuity. It's that constantly. And if you think about what joy is, joy really is kind of that. You can't plan for joy. Happiness is, it's more of a low level, it's more of an earthly type of thing where, you're content, you're happy, you're thankful, you're grateful for things, and, and they're in your life, and generally things are going well when you're happy. But joy, it's kind of like it sneaks up on you in a way. It's really, I think it's something that a lot of us can probably relate to when we go back to childhood and we think about those things that just gave us wonder about reality, about life, and that longing and that wonder about things. We don't have it as much as we grow older as adults, because we're thrown into this reality, and it's, we try to logic our way out of everything. We try to look at everything from a logical point of view, and the older I get, the more I realize, no, the kids have it right, because they look at the world through that lens where it's just to be surprised by joy, to be, like C.S. Lewis, his book, it's just really an interesting concept. And I think it really can fuel your creativity, because it's about newness. It's about that joy. It's about innovation and creating. And it's just a fascinating topic. So, what else did I want to say about that? I think I just want to ask you all, as far as, if you're an artist, I'm sure this is a big part of your life. What's your medium? Are you an artist? Do you paint? Do you write? Are you a musician? There are so many different ways that this phenomenon that I believe we all experience. I think it goes across all cultures. How has it shown up in your life? How do you, what is your 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐤𝐻? What gives you 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐤? For people, it seems to be different things. It's usually, landscapes, nature, music can do it for a lot of people. I'm just interested in hearing your thoughts. Have a great day. Bye.